So a very, very warm welcome to everybody. I am Dr. Amaey Parekh. A lot of you all might already know me. First of all, a big thank you to Zen Sangam for having me over. I've been using their papers for some time now, and I'm really looking forward to inaugurating this pad also today. And we're going to be doing something really fun. We're going to be creating these beautiful watercolor daisies, and I'll take you through the entire process so you don't need to worry about anything. Okay, I'm just showing what all is required. For those who don't know me, I'm Dr. Amaey Parekh from the Thinking Palette. I am a dentist, a counseling psychologist, an art therapist, and an artist based in Mumbai, India. And I am, of course, working with Zen Sangam for some time now. And we are having this workshop, which is a beginner-friendly workshop. But trust me, even if you're a beginner with watercolors or you're a little bit advanced, you'll learn something today. Please try to enjoy the process. That's most important. Don't worry about how it's turning out to be. And I will keep supervising at every step. I'll be taking breaks and asking your questions if you'll have anything. And yeah, let's start the session. All right. So let's begin with the materials, and then we'll start. Then I'll zoom in. Hello, Aradhana. Okay. So guys, what we have is basically we're going to work on this size of artwork. So this is almost an A6 kind of a thing, but you can also work a little bit on an A5. What I have is an A4 watercolor pad. Okay, from Zen Sangam. So I would recommend, if you all have 300 GSM paper like this is, then that is best for this kind of works, because the texture comes out much better. The amount of water absorbed comes out much better. The colors will stand out much vibrant. Okay. If you require any basic watercolor set, I have this set from Brustro. Yes, you can use A5 300 GSM. That works perfectly fine. Okay. You can use these colors. Okay. This watercolors. Any color is fine, camel, whatever color you have. You require 1 or 2 round brushes, okay? So I usually have these brushes. You can work with any brush, whatever is comfortable for you, but I recommend having 1 small brush and 1 larger brush. So 1, 2 or 4 and 1, 6 or 8, okay? If you have these 2 brushes, you can almost finish all your artworks. Yes, a 200 GSM will also work, but I recommend that whenever you're working only with watercolors, okay, and you want to get that nice effect, try and stick to 300 GSM. It costs a little more, but the texture will come out better and your result will also come out better. Okay, you can layer more. Basically, the idea is the water capacity is much more, so you can layer much more. And this has a lot of layering in it. So I'll show you. Now let's study the artwork a little bit. So all of you can see the artwork. Basically, it's a cluster of daisies that we are making. Okay, and in this, if you see, there's one center daisy, which is the main subject. Okay, we are trying to understand, we are creating the main subject. All the other daisies are supplementing it. Means they are giving beauty to the artwork. But if we don't create this well enough, then everything else may not stand out that much. Secondly, if you see, all the daisies have a little change in their direction. Can you see? There's a little straight, there's a little tilt. So we try and create that in the artwork itself when we are doing the sketch. Thirdly, most important point. In watercolors, there is no white color that we ever use. So if we're doing white daisies, what we are basically doing is we are keeping empty spaces, and that will act as your white color. So we are doing something which is basically coloring the background and only adding some highlights between the petals. Everybody is good with all these points? Yes? Thumbs up, guys. We need thumbs up. Awesome. Okay. So let me just start. Okay, I'm just going to open the pad. Give me 1 minute. Okay, and I will keep the artwork here itself so you guys can see it, and I'll slightly now zoom in. Okay, can everybody now see the artwork clearly and the paper and everything is fine? Awesome. Okay. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to work in this small area, okay, this area. So I'm just sort of keeping a line here. I'm going to work in this much of the area. What we do is we basically mark where our center petal is in. So this is going to be a little very light because we don't want the pencil to be seen through. Okay. So I will make it a little darker, but you all will make it very light. Did you get what I'm saying? For you all, please keep it very light. I don't want to erase unnecessary, but I'm going to draw it a little bit darker and then I'll slightly erase. Okay. I just mark basically 1 or 2 areas where I want my petals and my center area to be. Can everybody see this or it's out of the screen? Okay, let me just take it a little on the side. Better? Okay. Now I just need to mark a sort of an oval around the flower. Okay, like how I draw an ellipse or an oval, which is slightly thinner on the top side and slightly thicker on the bottom side. So it looks like the petals are opening. Then you're going to start drawing one petal like this. Okay. You can draw a little random, some little thin, some little thicker, and slightly try and overlap them. When you come towards the top, try and make them a little smaller. Can you see how I'm drawing? See how this entire sketch is happening. Yes, I'll wait for 1 minute, not a problem. Okay, see how I'm just following the contour of the circle. Once we follow the contour of the circle, our petals come out much better. Please remember, I am making it a little darker just so that you can see. But whenever you're sketching with for watercolors, please keep it very, very light. Okay, we don't want the pencil to be seen. Awesome. Okay, I'm repeating again. I drew one center circle of an ellipse. Actually, it's an oval. Okay, and then I drew a bigger oval where I kept the top area a little smaller so that the flower looks like it's opening. So whatever is a little away will look smaller. Whatever is closer to us will look a little nearby. Yes, Kirti, it's correct. Okay. So according to that, we are going to draw some petals. Keeping it a little random is also fine. Okay, they don't need to be very, very perfect. It's basically just to get the effect of a flower. Now the second ones you're going to draw straight away. You don't need to draw the ellipse. Even if you draw a little bit here and there, it's fine. Okay, but it has to be a little smaller. Same thing. See how I'm just changing the direction of the petals when I'm drawing. When I change the direction of the petals, it looks like the flowers are in different directions. And that's the effect we want to give across. Okay. So here only half of the petal is seen. So it looks like it's opening down. Simple, straightforward. Even if your petals look a little bit big and small, it's completely fine. This is the center flower, so we have kept it big. The others are small, so we don't need to bother about it. Lastly, I just make some stems for my own understanding that this is where the stem will come. So where will the stem connect to the center portion of the flower? So you have to keep that in mind. And you're just going to draw these small stems. Okay. Normally, I never use an eraser when I'm sketching. My sketches kept that light. Okay. In watercolors, when we are using these kind of an artwork, we are basically using a lot of water and we are going to work from light layer to dark layer. Okay. So whatever is your lightest green, you can use your lightest green. Supposing you don't have any light green, you can mix your sap green with lemon. I'm repeating, sap green with lemon yellow. And you can start creating these kind of grass-like effects. Okay, see how my brush is moving in a grass-like shape. Okay, just vertical strokes. So I'm taking the lightest shade first. Okay, a light green. And I'm giving grass-like strokes around the flower. I'm not going into the flower, only in between the petals, I'm adding the green. Okay, so this is a wet on dry technique because the brush is just using the same shade. So if you see, even with this, some areas look lighter, some areas look darker, because I'm picking up the color in between and then using that color in different areas. Again, I'm leaving a little spaces in between. Okay. Now we are going to move to the next layer once this is little dry. Okay, we have to wait for this to be a little dry. If it's very wet, then you will not get grass effect. It will all merge. Next, you're going to move to next whichever green you have. Supposing you made a light green, now we shift to a little next level green. So you can use only sap green, okay? And you will start giving some sap green colors. So you will start seeing that some areas will look darker now. Now, especially around the, the petals, I will start making some darker green areas. Can you see now? It's looking little darker. Can you see this? Okay. Now, every time I need to get a little darker, I will pick up the color from the, from the tray, from the pan. So every time I do that, I will get a darker color. So around the petals, see now in the center area, I'm making it darker. Around the side areas, I'm keeping it little lighter. So I get different contrast of colors. But in between the petals, I can give a little green. See this. In between the petals. I am not coloring the petals. Okay. So same way, strokes, wherever you need, you can take new color, dip your brush inside and just use the tip of the brush and like a pen flick. Okay. So just flicking to give the grass-like effect. Okay. Can you see how nicely it's coming out? Great. Now last shade, we will take the darkest green, whatever you have. Supposing you don't have any dark green, then what you can shift to is using a little bit of sap green mixed with either cobalt blue or Prussian blue. Okay, I'm repeating. Raki just write down sap green plus Prussian blue. Okay, little bit of Prussian blue if you don't have a dark green. Now we are going to get this darker effect. Can you see the darker effect? So again, so only some strokes. Now this has to be much lesser. We don't want everywhere dark color. Okay, so we are just going to give a little bit of dark strokes in some areas. Okay, especially around the petals, we want a little darkness so that the white can be seen. Okay, so if your color is very light around the petals, then here you can use a little bit of your dark greens so that the white stands out. Can you see how I'm creating the darkness around this? You can also, like I said, mix a little bit of blue to your green. Then you get even darker green. Can you see this? This is darkest green. This is mixed by Prussian blue plus little sap green or whatever green you have. This is very important because if I don't have this darkness, I will not get that depth in my artwork. I'm repeating, around the flower, I am adding darker strokes around the flower. And in between the petals. Okay, can you all see now? Can you see how the flowers have taken their own shape? Now we will move to the flowers. Okay, this is negative painting in the sense that we have not colored, yet the flowers can be seen. Okay, because the background has been made darker. So let's start with the flowers. All of you can take either a little bit of yellow ochre mixed with a little chrome yellow or gamboge hue, or you can just use one color. Anything is fine. Gamboge hue is sufficient. And we are going to first color the center, all the center areas of the flowers. Okay. To all the stems, you're going to just make one thick Prussian blue line or a little bit of green you can add, and just going to make thick, as in just make not thick, just make the stems. Okay. Both can be used. Okay, gamboge or yellow ochre, both can be used. If you all have done this much correctly, then by now your daisy will look like a daisy. Even if you right now just leave it that way, it will have looked like a daisy. Everybody pay a little attention. Okay. You will take a little bit of your little bit of Prussian blue or indigo. If you have indigo, you can use indigo. Very, very carefully make it light. Okay. Use little more water Use a thin brush if required, and only around the petals you're going to give some small strokes. Okay, only around the petal like this you're going to give some small strokes in between, starting from the center. Can you see this? See this. Pay attention. See what I'm doing here. Just a little bit of light water, more water, less color. Okay, and leave the white spaces. Can you see how I've left the white spaces? Please see how I've left the white spaces. Only the sides, I'm just adding a little bit of blue so that it becomes like an outline of leaving the white spaces just on the sides. So whereby pencil marking were almost on the pencil marking only. Only on the pencil lines, little bit of small strokes. You can use Prussian blue, you can use indigo, whatever you have. Okay. Just short strokes to give the petal effect. Now I'm going to take a little brown. Okay, you can take rose umber, you can take burnt sienna, whatever you want. In the center portion first, you're going to draw these small dots around the periphery, okay, of the oval, and then some dots inside. Okay, same thing, small dots around, a little bit inside. So we are adding some depth to the center portion also. Don't cover the yellow, okay? We want the yellow also to be seen. Just a little bit depth inside. Okay. Now, for somebody who's a little more advanced or wants to try, you can take a little brownish shade also in the petals and just give a little bit of strokes around it. Just a little. This is very light. Okay. Not required. Your white is enough, but this is just if you want to go a little depth more. Okay. Just some strokes, not everywhere. Very diluted, but just to give a little more warmth to the artwork. You can also add a little bit of yellow ochre strokes in the grass if you want to, so that it looks more muddy. Okay. This is just to add a little more earthiness to the artwork if you want to. This is advanced, okay? Not compulsory. What I've done was enough. You could just stop there. Very little water, very little water. Okay. So you guys can see how our daisies have come out very nicely. We can clearly see them standing out against the green.